I'm Don Robnet. Like a lot of people, I have two jobs. In civilian life, I sell life insurance. But I also have another important job. I frequently pilot a cargo and troop-carrying jet, like this one, for the Air Force. It's the C-141, #1 workhorse of the Military Airlift Command. If you wonder how a civilian like me gets to fly it, take a look at the tail of the actual C-141. See the insignia? This means that both active duty Air Force personnel and civilian reservists like me jointly fly this aircraft.
Like Don, I also have two jobs. As a civilian, I fly 707s for Continental Airlines. As an Air Force Reserve, I fly the C-141. 141 is a little different crew-wise, no hostess. We do have 6 crew members, 2 pilots, 2 engineers, navigator, and a loadmaster.
There are a lot of us reservists from all walks of life associated with the C-141. Some flying it, others helping the regulars maintain it on a scheduled and unscheduled basis.
I'm working on my master's degree here at San Diego State. I'm also a loadmaster on the C-141. This MAC reserve program's great for me. It helps finance my college education.
Being in reserves, we feel like we're part of the Air Force family. My wife kind of likes it too, because when the kids are out playing ball or swimming at the base, it kind of gives her like a 7-inning stretch.
Airplanes, that's my life. Designing them here at Northrop and flying them in the reserves. I sure like the 141. Naturally, I have to plot my course faster in the planes I used to fly, but with a couple of computers helping me now, it balances out.
Computers are the key to operating these modern aircraft. Most of your pre-flight figures are put into the aircraft computers prior to flight. The same holds true once you're airborne. When the aircraft computers are connected to the autopilot, our job is made a lot easier.
Hey, you're doing a great job there, Pete. A couple of years ago, when our reserve group had our unit airplanes taken away and was attached to a C-141 wing, we had a few misgivings. We were afraid that we would lose our reservist identity. However, it's worked out real great. It's a matter of real pride when wing operations requests an all-reserve air crew to go to Southeast Asia or anywhere else in the world. We're able to provide one on a moment's notice.
Like the mission I was on last winter. I was the navigator and the pilots were Captain Bryant and Captain Calange. We were airlifting troops to Germany from Forbes Air Force Base in Kansas.
Jim and I are the 2 loadmasters on this C-141. We're reservists assigned to the 944th Military Airlift Group. As you can see, we're loading troops for Europe. They have a big maneuver over there, and their next stop will be Europe.
My name is Lieutenant Petramali, and sitting next to me is NCO Sergeant Wanacott. We're both on our way to Europe for maneuvers in West Germany. We're flying by jet aircraft, which is a little different than what our fathers did, let's say, 20 years ago during World War II.
That mission to Germany was a quick turnaround trip. In fact, I think we did it in less than 2 days.
On the cold Germany airfield, dozens of C-141s and smaller transports were being offloaded and refueled for rapid turnarounds. Within 17 hours after landing, we were back over the Atlantic. The event we enjoyed most on that trip took place in the good old USA at Dover, Delaware. We went to a local seafood place where they spread newspapers and paper towels on the tables. But the seafood, oh boy.
Man, look at it that way. Isn't that a beauty? Stand back. Here I am back in the construction business again.
As far as your question, Tony, about the proficiency of the crew, I think the fact that we're flying on this reforger mission for MAC, along with all the active duty establishment, proves the point that the crews have to be proficient. You know, we're going into a new environment as far as flying, and it's been proven that we can do the job. So the performance and the proficiency of the reserve, especially the associate reserve, is a proven fact.
And I think, too, that the men all try and be just as sharp as they can because everybody's watching them.
Yeah.
And you're always being compared to the active duty establishment, and I think we're always making a very good show for ourselves.
Good enough, and we'll get it started away on that, okay? Yes, thanks, Ed. We'll see you a little bit later. Like any bird, the C-141 has to go through downtime to be worked on. But despite its complexity, it's an easy bird to tend. Here's where the wing uses the reservists, on the ground as well as in the air. Here, we're giving this bird its regular isochronal inspection. Two of the men working on this bird with the regular Air Force crew are reservists, pulling their annual active duty 2-week tour. These maintenance reservists have a real good deal. We send them to the on-base field training detachment for an 8-week training course. This way, the Air Force gets top value from their reserve duty. Many of them use this training as a basis for civilian jobs with commercial airlines. Our C-141s here in Southern California are used mostly for airlifting military cargo to Southeast Asia by way of Hawaii, Wake, and Okinawa. This board shows all the military reserve crew members on missions at this time. Sergeant Meyer, engineer, on mission 218, Colonel Dillon, pilot, and Captain Sullivan, navigator, on mission 813, Smith, and so on and so on. We have 11 reserve crew members in the system at this time. I recently flew a combat airlift mission between here and Southeast Asia with an all-reserve crew, all of who were combat airlift qualified. Perhaps we'd better explain combat airlift qualifications. Heavy military field equipment is loaded on C-141s. The plane is then flown to an area near the Salton Sea, where the crew drops the equipment by parachute into a small drop zone under rigid conditions simulated a combat situation. A total of 6 successful airdrops must be made by all C-141 flight personnel, regulars and reserves alike. Now, that reserve air crew I flew with to Southeast Asia on a recent trip was an interesting cross-section of civilian military flyers. For co-pilot, I had Captain Robinette, who is also qualified as an aircraft commander. In the Air Force, he put in a lot of B-47 bomber time. The navigator was Major Yamamoto. Before leaving active duty, he logged 2,800 hours as a navigator in C-119s. Staff Sergeant Don Weissman was the loadmaster. In college, he's working for a different kind of master's degree. My 2 flight engineers were Tech Sergeant Harry Gann and Tech Sergeant Bob Resendez, both with whom I have flown on different trips.
During flight, the 2 engineers take turns watching the instrument panel indicators. Their main function is to keep the pilots informed so the best advantage can be taken on speed and altitude to gain top performance.
This Norton to Hawaii leg is the easiest one for a navigator, and always a happy one for me personally, because I was born and raised in the islands. We have crew rest here. There'll be at least 15 hours before we take off again. On occasion, air crews get to enjoy a little beach time.
Our Hawaii to Wake leg is a critical one.
Roger.
Okay, I have to go get the secrets.
Okay, Don. We'll finish up and we'll be right with you. Jim, I gotta have to have an estimate to Southport Island, even though it's not an ADIS, and also to Squid, because ACP is coordinating a higher directed mission. Okay.
Third name there. Okay, 3064660. That's reserve ID card, isn't it, sir? You bet. Well, we see quite a few of you coming through now.
Yeah, we're getting pretty active there at Norton.
All right, sir, your secrets.
100,000 pounds.
And you have through load 31,479.
Any special handling?
110 pounds of 999 cargo, and you also have some magnetic label.
Okay, I'll brief the aircraft commander and I'll go order my lunch.
Right,
now.
it's on number 10 pallet.
Number 10 pallet,
Right.
okay.
Time to get aboard. We're getting close to departure time. It was nice Jim's mother could come to the flight line to see him off. No one can match the people of Hawaii in greetings and farewells.
Wake Island usually has pleasant weather. We enjoy stretching our legs after the 5-hour trip from Hawaii. It's another 6 hours to our next stop, Okinawa. The weather is expected to be good, except for a front west of Iwo Jima.
Looks like we will be getting there at 12:56 this evening.
Okay, Kadena. Forecasting winds 350 at 15 knots, unrestricted visibility. Broken strato Q at 4,000 feet and broken alto stratus at 12,000. Kadena itself running 90 to 100 knots. These are for 35. 31 would be worth about 10 knots too. Any questions?
Once the assigned altitude is reached and the automatic pilot is engaged, we relax a bit and talk is practically always on flying.
Got over Ottawa and I couldn't get the nose gear down.
You know?
There was a little airman deuce in the tower, and we tried everything. I had about a 220-pound co-pilot, and he pulled on that LG handle, and he sprang the cable. The cable came right off the ratchet, and there was no way in the world to get that gear down that I knew about. But this little airman deuce in the tower said, "Jiggle the gear handle." So he jiggled it back and forth, and plop, the nose gear came down.
Okinawa.
After 13 hours, this crew rest is a little more welcome than most. Tomorrow we go to Da Nang and Cam Ranh.
10 to 15
Our
minutes.
intelligence briefing on Vietnam just before takeoff made us realize we were not on an ordinary cargo run.
At Sandy, make your initial call to Saigon ACC. 120.7, 123.3 are the longest range frequencies, and probably you'll get them on those. Red 71, you continue on down to Papa Echo 8, pick up Red 6 at Papa Echo 8, and straight on over to Da Nang at Sierra Fox Beacon.
Burger, clear for takeoff, 17 left, wind 150 degrees at 8.
It's 3 hours from Kadena Air Force Base to Da Nang, South Vietnam.
0619, Da Nang, report wheels down, clear land runway 17 right, wind 150 degrees at 8.
Roger, 17 right. Wheels down.
Yeah, 709 on Neville straight in, report on downwind runway 17, altitude 2988. Roger, 17 right, downwind, or left downwind. Affirmative, left downwind.
Good night, Tower, Burger, over number 117 left.
ACP's on the other side. Oh, they moved it? Oh, okay.
Da Nang. Of the major air bases in South Vietnam, none has been more frequently mortared and rocketed.
As it all stops, while the pilots and the navigator go to the Airlift Command Post, my job as loadmaster is to expedite the offloading of the cargo. In Vietnam, cargo discharge is a speeded-up process, especially at hot areas like Da Nang. This is the end of the 9,000-mile journey for the new helicopter engines, electronic black boxes, ammunition, and other essential tools of modern warfare. For the long haul back, we pick up broken instruments and machinery to be repaired. At the same time, refueling must proceed to help get the plane ready for takeoff as soon as possible. While I'm doing my job, the pilots and navigator are busy planning the next leg of the trip.
Okay, 6-4.
Cam Ranh VOR is out, and the runway 20 left, the first 1,000 feet is closed from sunrise to sunset.
That shouldn't bother us.
Now, 20 right is a concrete runway.
Yeah. How much time back here? We'll use this as an alternate. About
It was 4:30, wasn't it?
Put you on 4:30?
4:30.
That'll do it. Let's get some weather and file it.
Okay.
We got everything? Yeah.
One more stop in the war zone, Cam Ranh Bay.
77 radio, out to Zulu. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All of our field facilities are in, and we have no pilot warnings. You have your copies of your standard instrument departure. Taxi hazards are covered, terrain hazards, and the field condition is white at this time. No problems anticipated. If I could get your signature in block 1.
Okay. We shouldn't have any trouble with the departure anyway, because old Don used to have your job about a year and a half.
Is that right?
You betcha.
Jim Caldwell.
Don Robnett.
Nice to meet you. I can see by your pass there that you're a member of the reserve.
You betcha. The whole crew is reserved.
Is that right? Well, you sure shouldn't have any problems departing out of here with all the knowledge of the local area.
Yeah.
So,
I see you have a departure, though. That's something that we didn't have at the time.
Yes, we have a good departure now, and it takes you out over the water up to the east toward Okinawa, so you shouldn't have any particular problem.
Yep. Just get out to Zulu and you're on the airway.
Well, what was things like here when you were here before?
Oh, it was considerably different.
It was?
We had 2 Army trailers, and one was the ACP trailer and one was the mission planning trailer. And they were parked out here in this ramp. There was no airport building or anything, and we kind of had that big aluminum planking ramp to ourselves. And they built, it took them a while to get this building built, and then we moved into it. And the people that were assigned here did all the work on the inside. They built the frame for us, the triple nickel people.
I see. Where'd you get all your supplies?
Oh, well, we got them through normal channels.
I got us about 2 minutes out of Hinchong. Over.
Looks good.
Wonder how far behind us that aerovac is.
I don't know, but they have the priority going down here, of course. They should.
Did you see the little flight nurse in base ops there when we were filing?
Yeah, she's a cutie.
Yeah, nice looking young lady.
Those gals are really doing a job over here.
Yeah, they work pretty hard and pretty long.
How do your girls feel about flying this route?
You mean our stewardess?
Yeah.
Oh, some of them we lose the first time around. They go back to domestic. A lot of them that go back to domestic, the majority of them go back and fly to Chicago and back for a while. And I think they get a feeling of accomplishment. They feel like they're doing something because a great deal of them end up back out here doing the same thing. And it's not just for the money. They work them too hard for that, just like the flight nurses.
With the tension of Vietnam behind, our stopover at Okinawa induced a more relaxed mood. It was heightened when we got the word that the next day's departure would be delayed a few hours. That's when we found out there really is a tea house of the August moon.
I don't know what this is, but it's not bad.
It's chicken.
Listen, you've said everything we've had so far has been chicken. Everything we've ate, we've asked you.
He wanted chicken.
What's this,
for
Jim?
dinner. Go ahead.
She's bringing
I'm not trying to
Chicken. You're equating this to Mexican food?
No, I'm saying that it tastes like it does. They fix the chicken with a sauce on it down in Mexico, and it's got kind of a sweet taste to it. That's what it tastes like. It tastes good. It is good. You look like you look like a Chinese warlord.
He sure does.
Man over there.
May I help you?
I want to buy either one or the other, the 150 or the 150D, but I'd like to know if possibly you can pack it for me to send back to the States. Is that possible? They can be packed?
No, I'm sorry, don't have. But next door are very...
Next door?
Yes.
If I buy it here, can I take it next door and have it packed and mailed to the States too?
Yes.
Good. In that case, I'll take this 150D, if you would please, and I'll take it next door to get it packed.
On the way to our aircraft for the trip home, we passed a Continental 707, the same one I had flown to Southeast Asia the previous week.
When we're pushed along by the jet stream from Okinawa to Hawaii, it sure keeps the navigator busy to make certain we're on course. It's quite different from navigating the continental U.S., where the checkpoints are well defined.
I'll get questions for about 2 weeks after we get back, about the trip and everything. How about you?
Well, my wife sees TV United Airline commercial about taking me along, and I try to explain it to her about crew rest, but one of these days I guess I have to bring her along.
At times, we can squeeze in a little evening recreation before our crew rest.
End of a trip.
This is a luau taken in Honolulu just before we came back from this trip.
There are even bits of color on paper.
And here we're unloading cargo at Da Nang.
The Air Force Reserve continues to support the active force through the associate program, flying the military airlift command route supply runs throughout the world, and special missions like this moon rock pickup after an Apollo flight. In addition to flying and maintaining the C-141 Starlifters, Air Force Reserve Associate units are being formed for service with C-9A Nightingale Aeromedical Airlift Squadrons and units flying the C-5 Galaxy. The Reserve Associate program works, and works well.